Good job getting the Bible. Come on, boy. Oh, you're going to need to take a lot of notes. I want to check your notes afterwards, okay? I want to check your notes afterwards. You better got some, okay? You got to have them. Okay, Matthew, remember what I told you, okay?
Yep.
We got you, boy, okay? I'll talk to you right after, okay?
How's your week, man?
Okay, it's fine.
Did anybody not get a Bible or their notes? Alright, everyone listen up. Welcome to Crossroads Students Wednesday night service. I'm super happy to see you guys. So, guys, get ready for the word, get ready for the message, get your Bibles ready, and guys, would you please help me to welcome our guest speaker for tonight. Everyone welcome up Pastor Ricky Franco.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Hey, welcome everybody. How are you guys today? It's good to see you guys. So I want to I got a lot to go over. And for me, I'll wait. For me, the Word of God is super, super important. So I know there's going to be a lot of questions on this topic that we have today. I know there's going to be a lot of thoughts. And for some of you guys, it might make you feel a little awkward, a little weird. But that's okay. I love making people feel awkward, okay? So what I'm going to need from you guys, though, if you have questions, look, each of you guys have a piece of paper in front of you. I would love for you guys to use that to write your questions. When you talk out, you're going to ask your group leader, write it down on your piece of paper. I'll answer it then, but I will not have time to answer questions during the teaching. Relationships. There's all kinds of different kind of relationships. There's friendships. There is boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. There's marriage relationships. There's a whole bunch of different types of relationships. But we're going to talk about some of that today. Today's title, though, is called Con Men Plus a Better Way. Okay? So con men plus a better way. Now, before I get started, though, I am going to tell you guys a little story real quick. Do you guys know what this is? What is this? Thank you. Leaning Tower Pizza. Pizza? No, it's Eiffel Tower. I forgot. It was really close, though. Good job. Now, the Eiffel Tower, it was built back in 1889. Oh, I'm talking. Thanks. It was built back in 1889. Okay. Now, this was built for the centerpiece of the World's Fair. The World's Fair was this time where all these different countries are coming together to say, look at all the cool stuff we can do. And they built this as a centerpiece. Okay. Now, this tower originally was only built to stay up for 20 years. That's what they made it for. There's 20 years and it's going to get taken down. Okay. Now, what happened was it was up for a good 35 years because everyone loved it so much. They're like, no, you can't take it down. We love this thing. Don't take it down, please. It was about 1925, and then an article came out in the Paris newspaper. And this newspaper article said, man, the Eiffel Tower is actually starting to rust and get old and needs a lot of repairs. And that was it. Right after that newsletter went out, or the newspaper came out with that article in it, these letters started going out to all these scrap metal dealers, okay? And these people would buy metal and then they can sell it for even more. Or they can make it into something else and they can do whatever they want it with it, okay? So all these scrap metal dealers really wanted the Eiffel Tower because it's a lot of metal, okay? It's big. So these letters went out from the government, from this guy Victor, and he was like a deputy director of something or other. He sent all these letters to these people and he said, hey, we want to sell, but you got to keep it kind of hush-hush. Because everyone really loves Eiffel Tower and we can't let them know that we're going to take this thing down. So all these dealers went on the side and they started talking to this guy. And back then it was very common for people to bribe people, okay? Like under the table, like, hey, here's a little bit of extra money. If you sell it to me, we're good to go. And so all these companies were bribing this guy, Victor, that worked for the government, okay? And they gave him tens of thousands of dollars to buy the Eiffel Tower. So when the deal was supposed to be done, okay, then it came out, this guy doesn't actually work for the government. And actually, this guy's not even French. He was a con man. Now, this con was so good. Look at this, listen to this. This con was so good, and the sustainer and the owner of all things, of everything, okay? But there is con men out in this world trying to sell us things that they don't own. So today we're going to talk about lust, we're going to talk about sex, we're going to talk about relationships, okay? But remember, this is what I need you to remember throughout the entirety of this message. You guys ready? God created those things. God is the owner. He is the creator and He is the sustainer of sex. Okay? Now what we're going to see is that there are people, there are things in this world that are trying to sell us something that they don't own. And people are trying to sell us an idea. They're trying to sell you guys an idea of what it means, yet they do not own it. So, the problem that we have here today is that someone else is trying to sell us what they do not own. So the main idea today, okay? They're trying to sell us something that they do not own. So we're going to end this talk. We're going to talk about sex, lust, and pornography in a little bit. But up to this point in history, okay? Up to this point in history where Jesus comes onto the scene, and we're going to get into the message. We're going to get into the verses that we're going to be into, the little passage that we're going to be in. When He came here, people in the religious community, in the church, people in the culture at that time, they were trying to sell people the idea of what they believed God was saying about all these different things. What He was talking about murder, what He was talking about marriage, what He was talking about oaths, what they were talking about their enemies, how to pray. And they had a lot to say about what it meant on the idea around sex. So all these religious leaders are trying to tell people like, hey, this is what it means. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to do things. So when Jesus came down though, He says this in Matthew 5:17. Okay, this isn't our main passage, but this is an idea that I need you to get before we get into it because it's an important piece. He says, do not think that I came to destroy. This is Jesus talking. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Like, all these guys were talking about things that God did talk about. He told us about this and how we're supposed to deal with them. Now, all of these people took what He says this over and over again. He says, you have heard that it was said, but I say to you. You heard that it was said. Because we hear things all the time, don't we? From all over the world. Everybody's telling us stuff. Our friends are telling us things. TV's telling us stuff. All these things are telling us stuff. And Jesus is like, I know you're being told all this stuff, but wait. Hear what I have to say. Hear what I have to say. So let's read our text today. Okay, so we're going to be in Matthew 5:27-30. And it says, you have heard that it was said to those of old. All right, remember I said, you have heard what it said. You shall not commit adultery. And then He says, but I say to you. So He's like, I know you've heard what it said about adultery. But I say to you, whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. If it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish and for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than your whole body be cast into hell. So He was addressing this idea of what adultery and lust looks like. And we're going to talk about those in a minute. But He's saying, look, I know you got sold these ideas. But hold up, I got a better way. Remember, I made them, Jesus was saying. I made these things. I got a better way for you. Let me show you how they're supposed to be used. I know. And I want you to know the better way. Okay? In 1 Corinthians 10:23, it says, man, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. On men. And now why this is important, because Jesus cares just as much about outward actions, okay, the things that we do, as He does about inward motives. Remember, in verse 28 it says, "But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery in his heart." Now, when we say lust for, we can lust for a lot of things. Okay? Lust actually just means a passionate, inordinate desire for something. Usually sexual in desire, but it doesn't have to be. You can lust for things. Now, it's an inordinate desire for something. It's like weirdly desiring something. A lot of you guys lust after your phones. I'm just going to say, okay? You have an inordinate desire to have your phone with you. I do too. If my phone's not with me, all of a sudden I'm like, where's my phone at? Like automatically, how fast does it take to know that your phone's not with you? Like automatic, right? You're like, wait, my phone. Wait, I got to get my phone really quick. And you don't even need it. You're like, I need to go get my phone, right? I'm at my house downstairs and I'm like, my phone's upstairs. I got to go get it real quick. Sorry, guys. Why do I need to go get it? I don't know, but I feel like I need it. There's an inordinate desire for something. Now remember, ladies, I don't want you to commit adultery in your heart because those things will pull you away from God's better way. And you cannot allow the con men of this world to pull you away from God's better way. Because that's what it does. I want to hold off just for a second right there. Jesus was telling people of the time, right? Look, we'll obey about it. It's the same. Now, this is where this gets hard. Because all things, it says all things are lawful. Go ahead, you can do them if you want. But not all things edify. It's our decision to say, is my way better than God's way? And if I believe that, it's why do I believe that? Now, when God came down, God says this. Look at it, Matthew 28:18. He says, "And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth." If we believe that, if we believe all authority has been given to Jesus, and he owns and he's created and he sustains everything, if we truly believe that, then when it comes to this idea of what we're lusting for, we're going to give those to God. When we believe this, we're going to know that this idea of relationships, then we're going to do things with integrity. We're going to do things in a way where we know we're going to fulfill God's calling in our lives. And when you know the other person in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, or whether it's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or whether one day it's in marriage, you're going to know the other person is living a life of integrity. And if you can't believe that that person that you're staying with or your friendship with or you have a relationship with in some sort, if you can't believe they're living a life of integrity, that relationship's going to suffer. What is that? Got it? Got it? So this is where we're getting to in this world, okay? And I want to tell you guys, it's a little wild, okay? The idea of living with integrity. We've gone so far off of, at times, okay, not everybody, we've gone so far off of what God's way looks like. They did this research study, okay? This group called Barna. Some of us, 13 and 25. This is what they believe. They truly believe this. They believe that not recycling, are you guys getting this, okay? Somebody that doesn't recycle, okay, that person is more immoral than someone that watches pornography. Can you believe that? They did a study and they said, okay, which one's worse? Not recycling or looking at pornography? They go, not recycling, that's horrible. What?
Who says that?
The majority of your age says that, actually. Which is kind of crazy. Afterwards, I'll answer questions. Write them down and I promise I'll answer, okay? Kind of a crazy thing, right? But that happens when we begin to believe our own lies or the lies that are being sold to us, then our moral compass begins to go wacko. Okay? And God's like, I hear you. But I got a better way. Do you want to see the better way? Because I can show you. And that's God's calling to us. He says, I got a better way and I'll show you how to use the things that I created, including sex. I'll show you guys that. Now, God knows that the best way for sex to be enjoyed is in the context of joining a man and woman in marriage. He created it that way, okay? Now, how does he know that? How does he know that? Because he created it. He designed it. He designed it to be used in a way that he said, this is the very best way for this to be used. He created sex in a way that when a man and woman come join in marriage, that they're going to get the best fulfillment, the most joy, the most excitement. Okay? Now, our culture has twisted that. And they're trying to sell us something different. And all of you guys are going to be exposed to it in some different way throughout your lives. Sometimes it's going to be hard. And sometimes it's going to hurt. But I'm going to tell you right now that God says, yeah, I know the world is doing it, and I'm sorry. But I love you, and I want to show you a better way. Come see what this better way is. I truly want you to know. Now, we'll believe and follow the con of the world, okay, in 3 different ways. In 1 John 2:16, it says this, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Got those 3? Is not of the Father, but of the world. He says there's 3 things. There's lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and pride of life. And in the verse we read today in Matthew, it talks about all 3 of them. Look at the first one, the pride of life. I want to start from the bottom and go up because it starts with our own pride. And this is our decision to decide follow ourselves or follow God. The pride of life, he says, well, I know that you guys believe that, but let me tell you what I know. The best in the other. Are you going to follow what you believe or what he knows? Do you get that? Follow what you believe or what he knows. Okay? So that's the pride of life first. And if I say, all right, Lord, I want to follow what you know. Then there's a second lie that happens. And this is the lust of the eye. This is the way that we believe the con. Okay? He says, if your right eye body will be full of light, be there. Pornography, scrolling through Instagram for hours on end. Nobody does Facebook, huh? Facebook on end. Movies. Mute your eye out. This is the hand that does things. This is what they meant back then, okay? This was your hand of action. When something happened, they were like, you use your right hand. Okay? If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you, for it's more profitable for you that one of your members perish and your whole body be cast into hell. Look, he knows that you're going to be tempted to do things that you're going to decide that are not the best way. He knows you're going to be tempted for that. And if statistics are true, and we really are believing these lies that are happening, your age group right here, this middle school age group, you guys will seek out what sex and pornography is more than any other group. Now why? Because there's a lot of questions around it, right? You're like, what is this thing? What is happening? Why do I know this? What do I do with this? You have a lot of things that you want to know. And and you guys take time, and it's like, when you fill your eye with those things, then it becomes that inside of you. But what I want to tell you guys, that scientific studies have shown over and over and over again that things like pornography kill relationships. They kill them. You're not able to love in the way that you can. You're not able to enjoy the way that you can. You're not able to have fun in the ways that God has created for a relationship when you begin to fall for those cons. I want to tell you, you guys don't need a fake, false version of what God has created. And that's what those things are. They're fake, false versions of something that God has created an even better way for. He says, if you wait, if you get into a relationship that is God-centered, God-created, and you do it in a way, I'm so sorry, excuse you. Is that a sneeze? I don't know what that is. God bless you. Was it a sneeze or a cough? Cough you. God cough you. Is that what you say? I don't know. When you fall for those things, though, then you're not ever able to enjoy it in God's best way. Now, there's times that we've already done things. Things have already happened, and there's already hurt that's there. God says, yeah, Come to me, I have a better way still. It's okay. Come to me. I love you so much. I care for you so much. As my son and daughter, I want to live in that best way with you. So come. So now that we know the problem, right? There are two ways that we can deal with lust. There's two ways that we can deal with this lust that happens, okay, to all of us, okay? First thing is, you can just give into it. That's the way to do it, right? That's not the best way to do it, but that's a way that you can do. You can give it to temptation. Now look at, the Bible actually gives examples of this, okay? David, King David, he was on his roof, he was looking down and he saw a lady, her name was? Bathsheba. When he saw her, she was naked, taking a bath, and he was like, he started looking, okay? He was attracted to her. Then he kept looking because he began to become obsessed with her. So much so that it led to him taking action. Now, he took her, committed adultery with her, okay? Now from that though, okay, he fulfilled his thoughts. He was like, I just need to do this. I'm going to go my own way. And this was a guy after God's own heart. Like, he knew and loved God. And yet, he allowed the lust of his eyes to lead to the lust of his flesh because of the pride of his life to say that I can do my own way. And then when he took her, it led to more lies. It led to hurt. It led to pain. And then ultimately, it led to death. Whew. Now, there's a second way that we can deal with things, with lust. Okay? And this is a lust that's pulling us away from God again, okay? This lust. Number two is get it out of the way or run away. Now here's an example of that, okay? Joseph was a slave in this guy Uriah's house, okay? And Uriah's wife, though, really, really liked Joseph. He was a good-looking dude, okay? She framed him. So Uriah's wife was like, I really want Joseph. And Joseph's like, no, stay away from me. And she's like, no. And then finally she created like this big elaborate plan. And I kind of imagine it like, I don't know, it must have been like some sort of like Mission Impossible movie and trying to figure out how to catch him. And like she trapped him in this room. And so he finally got to this point and he's like, and she's like, you need to sleep with me. And he's like, and in that moment, he has the two choices. Either give in to the temptation or run away from it. And he decided to the point where he needed to ruthlessly just get out of there. He takes off, she grabs his clothes, he literally runs out of his clothes, like running through the house and outside naked to get away from her, okay? Like he was out, right? He was like, nah, peace out. I'm not handling this. I'm not going to do this. Now, Pastor Nate Wagner, Pastor Wade Wagner, he says this. He says, drastic matters are always appropriate in order to protect spiritual health. Drastic matters are always appropriate in order to protect spiritual health. Sometimes you need to ruthlessly cut out the things in your life that are causing you to fall into sin. The things that are causing you to lust, the things that are causing you to look away from God and look to the con men of the world. And you need to cut those out. Now, I have a quick video for you guys, okay, showing what it looks like. It's old video, but I want to show it to you guys, okay? Ready? Okay. Now, hold on, listen. Okay.
Let's go.
Oh shit. Wait.
No.
Just break the computer.
What do we do? Stay away. Okay, so look at, he's going to struggle with this for a minute, okay? You guys ready? Hold on. Okay, listen. Listen real quick. Keep watching. And this is going to be the example right here.
Finish the job.
All right. So, this idea of ruthlessly cutting things out of your life. Sometimes it takes you needing to do. Now, before you go home and smash your computer,
Never.
ask your parents first. Maybe they'll hide it from you or something for a little bit. But look it. Sometimes there's this idea that you need to poke your eye out. Okay? Hold on, guys. Come back. We're almost done. I promise. Sometimes you need to poke your eye out. Sometimes you need to cut your hand off. Sometimes you need to smash your computer. Whatever it is. Okay? It's hard to get rid of things. Sometimes it takes points where you're like, you know what? I need to get my phone taken away for a little bit. Because it's causing me to do things that I don't want to. But you have to do whatever it takes to get you and your heart back to looking toward the Lord and not to what you're doing. And it's hard. You see the struggle. You guys were so into it because you know that struggle inside. It might not be outwardly like that, but you know inside sometimes you're like, Now, what I want you to take away today. Hold on. Now, what I want you to take away today, that there's always going to be temptation. There's always going to be con men in the world. Sometimes it's actual people, other times it's culture, and sometimes it's Satan. Yet Jesus is saying to you, I know what you've heard. I know it. But I say to you, He wants to talk to you. He wants to give you truth. He wants to show you a better and more perfect way. He loves you so much that He does not desire you to get conned by the world. He wants you to enjoy the world in the way that He created it.
That's what we're running from.
Now, a way to ruthlessly get rid of things. Okay? Know what you struggle with, what you're being conned by. Okay? Let others know, and Jesus know, and then ruthlessly get rid of it, and then enjoy God's best. Those are ways that we're going through. And in relationships, there's going to be times in relationships where things are, they're hard, you know what to do. Man, bring them out into open and let people know, and then deal with them. And then ruthlessly get rid of them if they're pulling you away from the Lord. Now, if you haven't given your life to Jesus, if you haven't decided that He is the creator of all things, that He has all authority of all things, I just want to tell you guys that know that He's calling you. And He is calling you to a better way. He's calling you away from the lust and the pornography and pride and lies and pain and hurt. And He's calling you into His family. And He truly wants to show you a better way. So let me pray for you guys. I'm going to give you guys a few questions that you guys are going to discuss in your groups right now. But know that that's what He wants from you. So Lord, thank you so much. Thank you for this time that we got to just be able to speak about your word, Lord. And in these places in our life where we want to build better relationships, we want to build relationships that are built upon you, Lord, let us continuously see the better way. Let us see the way that you want for us in the friendships that are around us, in our relationships at home, in our relationships with other people, and in the future, Lord, relationships that we have with those that we're dating or that we're going to get married to, that those relationships are going to be honoring to you. And so, Lord, I pray over each one of these students here today, Lord, that they truly know that you are calling them to a better way. Lord, I pray they do not get conned. And when they see those con men, they ruthlessly run away or get away from what they're trying to sell them. Lord, we love you. We thank you. And in Jesus' name, amen. All right. So there's some questions up here. Is there an area in your life where you suspect that you've been conned? And all the other ones, I'm not going to go through them. You guys got them. Go to your groups. Go talk. Go have fun. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. All right. Matthew, good job, dude. Thank you so much, man. You did great today, okay? I appreciate it. Was it a good message today?
Yeah.
Yeah? Got to get rid of it, huh?